Hello, my friends. Good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. If you're watching the recording, welcome to episode 7 of Let's Talk Soul to Soul. It's such an honor to be here with you this evening at this very moment. Oh, wonderful as we welcome you. Please feel free to drop in the comment section where you're from, your name, a message. Wonderful. Diana, this is fantastic. It's so nice to be back live, soul to soul. And we're just waiting for my very special guest, Wendy, to join us. It is her first time doing a live Instagram like this. So proud of her and so excited to share this sacred space with Wendy and all of you. And I really invite you to just get comfortable. Get yourself a hot or cold drink. Oh, yes, as we just settle into this beautiful moment of now, as we gather our hearts, soul to soul, in this beautiful energy, this sacred space of coming together. Wonderful. And as I see you joining, please again, feel free to drop a comment where you're joining us from. This whole world of Instagram is quite new for me. Okay, I'm not a rookie, but I think I'm just on first base, maybe getting to second. I ventured out in October of 2023, and Soul to Soul began in December, out of a desire to connect in ways that were new. But you know, anything's possible. And that is what the last few years have reinforced for me. And I know my special guest, Wendy, feels the same about that really anything is possible when you set your mind, your heart, your soul on something, when you're moved to do something, whatever it is, whatever's been placed on your heart. Yes. And so again, just bear with us these moments as Wendy prepares to join us. We did a trial run a couple nights ago, and she jumped on Instagram Live. It was successful. So I'm sure she'll be making her way here shortly. And for those of you, who are new to Instagram Live, and you're feeling like you want to get your voice out there or a message, I really do encourage you to take the step. There's that phrase, your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. And this is one of those opportunities to step out. Wonderful. For those of you who don't know me, I'm joining you from my home here in Banff, Alberta, where I have resided for, I don't know, many years now, about 16. originally from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. I'm curious to know where you're from. I recognize some names. I think we've got some friends from potentially Chile joining this evening. Wonderful. I had chatted with Wendy about, in the last 10 minutes. So I know that she's out there and she's looking forward to joining us this evening. I'm just wondering if she's having any difficulties jumping on. And I do thank you very much for your patience, my friends. Awesome. If you're wondering, how this Let's Talk Soul to Soul all evolved, really it was just a desire to connect with people again. Over the last few years, I would say these springboards for my soul's work in more traditional fields of work and communication were cut off. And, like many, who deal with a loss, change, transition, I went through a period of grieving and trying to make sense of what was happening. And through that, I am learning that these losses, whether it have been for you, like me, a job, something that you loved to do, loss of relationship, loss of trust, whatever, something familiar. We need to give ourselves the grace to be with that, be with those emotions around it, all of it. And the one thing I've learned is that you don't get over loss, but what I've learned is that we find ways to grow around the grief, the loss, and spending time connecting soul to soul, even through this medium of communication, is one way that I am growing around that grief, around those losses. And these are the blessings. These are truly the blessings that come from that. Not easy, definitely not, and I'm sure you are well aware of that, but possible. And ever the more possible I feel when we open ourselves to those trail angels, those people, those guardian angels that come into our lives to hold the hand of light to us and companion us at various stages, various paths, various steps on that journey. Wendy is one of those beautiful souls, those trail angels, and I see that she has joined us, and so just waiting to see if Wendy can request to jump on so we can see her beautiful face. My cara sorella, Wendy Tambellini, joining from beautiful British Columbia. And, you know, it was at a time when I needed to just put down what I was carrying and allow myself time to unpack the weight of losses that had accumulated. Unpack them, lay them out in the company of beautiful people like Wendy who joined me on that path. And so I'm going to see here, oh, Wendy's having a little bit of difficulty joining, requesting. Oh, Wendy, could you try to jump on and off again and see if that would work? And if you can potentially switch on to your phone, perhaps if you're on your laptop, it may not be allowing you that option. Oh, just give it another try there, Wendy. We'll see if you can do that. If you just jump off and then on again. I see that I'm able to invite others to join me, but I don't see that for you. These are the joys of technology, right? I mean, it's a never-ending kind of a, you just never know. You just never know. It's kind of like one on those roller coaster rides. You just, sometimes we just have to go with it. So we'll just see if Wendy can jump off and then jump on again, or use a phone or a different device. And thanks again, everyone who is so patiently waiting. Okay, and I just want to check to make sure. I see that I'm able to get Wendy on. Go live with Wendy. Awesome. Okay. I've invited Wendy. See if she's going to join us. Just checking, can everyone hear me? Just give me a signal of some kind. Carrie, can you hear me there? Yes. Perfecto. Yes, Diana. Sí. My friend Nelia. I'm not sure what's going on there for you, my friend Nelia. And let's see if we can get Wendy back here. Okay, Wendy, come on. Let's see if we can get you on. Accept. Go live with Wendy. You. Let's see here. Okay, Wendy, we're still working at this. So nice you've got some friends here, Wendy. All right, I'm gonna try this again. I thank you all for your patience. Maybe if I move this, let's see if I can do that. I don't think it has to do with my device. I'll just put this here. You know, maybe a change of scenery here will allow Wendy to jump on. You know, my friends, what I might end up doing is I might just jump off and get Wendy on. And then if you just give us a, something just, yes!
I don't know what happened, but it worked now. It won't work on my laptop, but I'm on my phone, so.
Oh my goodness, welcome, Wendy. Can everybody hear us?
Hello,
Just
hello. Bravo. Yes,
Oh, no, do you see comments there, Wendy?
I do.
Oh
I do.
my gosh. Yes, I see the bravo. I see the thumbs up. And I see you, my beautiful soul sister.
Hey.
Oh my gosh, we did it. We did it.
We did it.
So for all of you who have never done this, you know, who are considering taking the step out of your comfort zone, you can do it.
Yeah, for sure.
We got you. We believe in you.
Definitely.
So, Wendy, I was just, you know, doing what I do best, talking, as we were waiting for you to join us. And so, just taking a few moments to just settle into this now, to put down whatever we're carrying. And just, I want to share this beautiful quote, Wendy, because it encapsulates who you are, the gift of who you are. And I truly believe the gift of creating these sacred spaces for souls to shine, to connect.
Yeah.
And it goes like this: being with people who make your nervous system feel safe and allow your authentic self to shine is the most underrated contributor to healing.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
And I would say flourishing, even beyond, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
And my dear Wendy, you were one of those trail angels who fell into my life in 2023.
2022.
2022, yes, 2022, at a period of time when I needed to be held, I needed to be seen, I needed to be heard.
Yeah.
You were one of those beautiful souls, Wendy, and I will just, in a journal, I want you to know, a journal that I started just prior to meeting you, the quote that I wrote: every experience, no matter how bad it seems, hold within it a blessing of some kind. The goal is to find it. And so, Wendy, you are one of those blessings, my dear friend.
Aww.
And so it's time for me to shine some light on you. I welcome you here.
And you know what, Annalisa? It is such a joy to be here. It is such a joy that you invited me to be on your show, on your live, and to share my journey that I went on, starting when I met you. You were beside me as I went through this process of healing. Yeah. Yeah, it was a deep dive, and I'm not going to say it was easy because it wasn't, but I had such an amazing support system around me that got me through every day that I was working on healing the trauma, the pain, all the really deep wounds that I had. And you and I made that connection in class, and you know, you were one of the ones that helped me through, as well as my cohorts and my lovely assistant, Tara. And I know right now.
Yes. Yes. So Wendy, to backtrack, how did our paths cross?
How
Where?
did I cross?
Yeah. Yeah. For those who don't know.
Okay. Like Annalisa said, it was 2 years ago. It was the end of March. And my job had just ended at the end of 2021. And I was walking through my living room one day, and it was third week in March. And I just heard loud and clear, it's time, college. And I was like, okay, I've waited for this day for so long, and I knew I wanted to study to be a life coach. So I started looking. I found the college that we went to online, and I signed up probably 5 days before our first class. And yeah, I walked into that. Well, not walked, but I turned on my computer and stepped into that Zoom room full of my fears and all the, I don't even know what the word is, but there were so many fears popping up in my face that very first day. And I still remember that I waited till the very last person. I was the very last person to introduce myself. And I was so scared. I just started crying. Like, that's how much fear I was living in day after day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we all started 2 years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so many of us were carrying, you know, these suitcases, these backpacks full of fear. I had spoken earlier about just losses that had accumulated. And that phrase, Wendy, it's time.
It's time. Yeah. It was
Time.
I waited for that day for so long because I was working in a job that, you know, that saying, I left my soul at the front door when I work. I was in one of those jobs. I only did it because of the money. And I was standing there one night at work, and I was like, just show me the way. Show me how to get into life coaching.
Wow.
It was almost a year later when I
Yeah.
got that message, and it was so loud and clear. It's time. So I didn't hesitate. I went right to my phone. I grabbed my phone and I started Googling. Yeah.
Mm. And how did you and you know, Wendy, you talk about this voice too, and we'll get to that because you know, you're so guided, and I've always really admired that about you and felt that was a real connection that we had,
Mm-hmm.
that there was a deep sense of knowing
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that was the next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
And to land where you did at
Yeah,
Rhodes.
exactly.
How
Even
did
when I was Googling colleges, you know, Rhodes would pop up. I'm like, oh, no, right one. And I would go look for other ones. And I kept coming back to Rhodes. And that was when I actually saw the name correctly, Rhodes Wellness College. I didn't see that the first time I looked at it. And that was exactly where I needed to be. I had so many fears around men, and I was told I had a female teacher, and I just assumed my class would be full of females, and I was all ready to start. And when I class that morning and found out I had a male instructor and all these males, there's 6 or 7 males in our class, and it was just all my fears surface. I had to either face them and deal with them, or I was never gonna grow, never gonna stay in that little safe place where I was so afraid, and I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want anyone to see me, and I was just scared.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
I remember so well our first conversation, Wendy.
Yeah, our video chat. That was a week after class started. just had this connection.
Mhm.
Mm.
And this soul to soul, you know, these connections are so vital,
They are.
especially at this time in our history.
Yeah, and especially when, you know, there's so much, I don't think there's anyone alive that hasn't gone through trauma.
Yes, Wendy. Mm.
It's something, you know, like I went through some pretty bad trauma. And, you know, whether you lost a puppy or one of your parents or grandparents passed away, they had a car accident, you lost your job, that's all trauma. And some people don't even chalk that up as trauma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It
Yeah.
affects.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you talk a little bit more about this, Wendy? This is so, I think, reassuring for many out there who don't look at these losses, or changes, transitions, these life experiences as potentially affecting them and their nervous systems.
Mm. Yeah, it's well, what I can say from my own experience is, you know, I've gone through one traumatic experience after another, and you know, I didn't even realize I had PTSD until I sat in that classroom in I didn't even know the symptoms of it until we started working in the trauma section of counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Everything started to make sense why I was going through what I was going through and alienated myself from my friends. And it's something, um, I don't know, my brain just went off in left field. It's, you know, not knowing I didn't even know I was going through trauma.
Yes, Wendy.
I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know. I thought trauma was one of your parents or someone in your family having a something horrible accident or something happening to them, and that was trauma. I didn't coming out of an abusive relationship that was trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize my brother dying when I was 16 was trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I think a bigger light needs to be shone on what trauma is and how it affects us, and it stays in our body. Like right now, well, for the last 2 years, I did a deep dive into mental and emotional wellness.
Yes.
And I've worked through a lot, and it hasn't been easy,
Yeah.
but to move beyond that. Like I use that phrase, I didn't come this far to only come this far. You know,
Yeah.
I,
Yes.
I see my dreams, you know, you can still see my vision board behind me.
Totally do.
And those are all my dreams that I'm working towards now. And, you know, it's, I don't know, it, you know, if I can say one thing to anyone who's going through a rough time, it's like,
Yeah.
don't give up. Like what you said earlier about, you know, it's safe to stay in your comfort zone, but nothing grows there. I think that's how you said it.
Yes. Yes. Your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there.
Exactly. Nothing grows there. You stay stuck. And that's where I was for the last 11 years after I left the abusive relationship. Place
Mm.
where I just alienated myself from everybody because I knew that was the only way I felt safe. I would come home, I'd shut my door, and I would say, now I'm safe.
Right.
It was a very lonely place to be. I felt I had no one until I got to Rhodes, and I felt so supported with all my cohorts and the teachers, and you know the I don't know what you call Tara, but Tara was a good support too.
Yeah.
The assistants.
I
Yes.
Yeah, our TAs. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you know, I remember in the same journal when I was researching, like
Mm-hmm.
after I lost my job 2 days later, I'm like, okay, I better get a coach. Like I've coached people in different ways and mentored, but oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life here? I I know that God has more for me. This isn't the
Right.
end. And so when I was researching, I'm like, oh, you know what? What the heck? Maybe I'll just do this life coaching thing here.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds really intriguing. And I spoke with Lola at
Me too.
Rhodes,
Me.
who was awesome. And you know, I wrote down Ben calling. I have so many notes, and I know Wendy, journaling is something, you know, you do that too, right? It's so therapeutic, cathartic. And I said, and I wrote down what Ben said. He said, regardless of our difficulty, we can we can get help from others to make our path smoother, making it easier for us to move forward with joy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and sometimes outright rescuing us from the awful pits we find ourselves in. Friends and relatives will hopefully be there for us, but expert mentors and guides can really help us find peace and happiness as we learn to better walk through life with more stability and purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then I loved how B. Rhodes said, book smarts and street smarts to do this transformative work.
Isn't that the truth though? Yeah, that is the truth.
Yeah.
It's such, you know, when you're in, well, I'll speak for myself. When I was in, you know, all those years before Rhodes, those 11 years, I didn't realize the depth of where I was at.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
had no clue. I was just surviving. That's
Mm.
all. And now that I've come through those 2 years, is I don't even know how to explain. This
Yeah.
year, my word is joy. And I have my joy jar, just like because you showed me your joy jar and I started mine. Mine's a great big gallon jar on my desk, and I'm going to keep filling it up until the end of the year. But that is my word this year, because I have lived so long without the feeling of joy,
Yeah.
pure. And you know, going back into my healing a little bit, you know, last summer I took a deep dive into the mother wound.
Yes, Wendy.
That was so painful.
Mm-hmm.
To go back into that wound of when I was a little girl, and
Yes.
my mother's um, poor mental health, and her, you know, to raise this little girl that she gave birth to. And
Yeah.
it was, bye, Diana. Thank you.
Oh,
It was, you know, it was, oh, what is the word? Like it was so hard, but it was so, and because now I can look back on my mom and think, you know what, it was her mental health that was so poor.
yeah.
You know, when we can get to a point where we can forgive the others
Oh,
that we, it's like that's when you know you've evolved. You know, it's that was a tough one. I'm not going to deny that. That one took me quite a few months to work through. I think
yeah.
about the end of May was when I started, and I think it was close to the end of the year by the time I actually said, I forgive you, Mom. I forgive you.
Wow. I mean, Wendy, it took such courage. Your whole journey has been one of courage
Yeah.
and vulnerability, Wendy. And you know, it took so long, you say, but you know, when we talk about, you know, you were able to bring yourself to that point of saying that you needed to forgive so that you could release that energy that was being directed inwards almost for you, that was keeping your light dim.
It was, and it was also, it was something a friend of mine said, because when we talk about reincarnation and soul a friend of mine said to me, because I was really stuck in a place where I didn't know if I could ever forgive my mom because she was not kind to me. And my friend said to me, "What did your mother teach you by how she treated you?"
Wow.
And I said, "That's a deep question. I'm going to have to get back to you."
Yes.
So the next day I spoke to her and I said, "I know what she gave me, or she taught me. She taught resilience." And when I look back on it, I looked at my whole family as teachers for resilience. My sister, who was never there for me, my brother was autistic, so he wasn't really there for me. My dad was there for me, but only for 28 years, and then he passed when I was 28. So after my dad passed, it was like I had to really dive deep into my determination.
Yeah.
And it carried me out of some of my really dark times. And that was just a beautiful thing. And you know, I said to my friend after, it was like, when you really think about, when you go back into the reincarnations and the soul contracts, and I was thinking back, because my friend said to me, she goes, "Do you realize that your mom had to be born into through a mother who would treat her in that way in order to treat you in that way?" And I like, and I instantly got this feeling like that is love. For her to give me a lifetime on what I wanted to work on, as painful as it may have been for her and me, she did that. She did that for me. And that is where I could say, "I forgive you, Mom. I'm no longer angry. You gave me exactly what we had a contract to come in here and do, and you've taught me resilience that I'm going to carry me till the day I leave this planet." Oh, I'm so full of love right now for my mom and what she's done for me. And my dad, like he had to leave when he did in order for me to dig deep and find my strength to carry on. Yeah.
Wendy,
Mm.
as I just think back to our first encounter, right? 2022, and here we are. And the way you are sharing, so just from the heart, I feel the love. I feel your light.
Thank you.
The resilience that you speak of, Wendy, this is you. This is your most authentic self shining.
I love that. And I love that you said that. Thank you.
Wendy, I don't even have the words. I'm just so honored.
Yeah.
I'm just so honored what you've shared, and for all who have the gift of listening to this beautiful soul. Wendy, the message, the mission you have is one that can touch so many hearts that have been hardened or maybe lost hope or maybe not been able to step back and look as the observer, that question, what did your mom teach you by how she treated you? You know, Carrie commented, incredible revelation, Wendy.
It was an incredible revelation. If my friend hadn't have asked me that question, I don't think I would be where I am right now. But she shone a light on your mom is here for you to learn from. This is your dad and, my brother and my sister. And, that's it. I'm so grateful she asked me that question. So grateful.
And the way you've reframed the pain, that you're looking for a lesson, that is incredible, Wendy.
Well, I was at a point where, I was talking to my friend and I was like, some days I feel like this little tiny glimmer of forgiveness for my mom, and I can forgive her for half an inch. I can forgive her, but it's like I was so angry at how she treated me. And said to me, what did your mom teach you? And then that changed everything for me, because I could look at it from a place where my mom as a soul was doing it because I had asked her to, as it was.
Yes. And if we all take a moment and do exactly what you did with someone who perhaps we have challenges with, whether it be a sibling, a mother, a parent.
Yeah.
Imagine.
That could change a lot for somebody. It could move out of the anger and the bitterness and move them into a place of realizing, this is the agreement we had coming in. And they did just that. Incredibly painful for them to do. They did it because we had that contract.
Yes. And you had come to a point, Wendy, where you knew you needed to see things differently.
I did. I absolutely stuck. I was stuck in anger and the bitterness towards my mom.
And now, Wendy, where do you feel, what is you're so connected with your soul, your spirit, the voice. It's led you here. It's led you through this journey of shedding what is not yours to reveal your essence. And you are shining in your essence, Wendy.
Thank you.
It's the truth.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for that. Thank you. I worked hard to get here, and I will gladly accept that.
Yes. And your message is one, Wendy, that I feel so many would benefit from hearing.
That I love hearing, because if we can only shine a light for somebody who's stuck, to shine the light on the path to guide a way for them out of where they're at. That is to be in a place of serving.
Yes. And do you feel that is that call that perhaps way back when you had this work is not for me, your call is service?
Exactly.
Beautiful. It's so clear, Wendy.
Well, my journey isn't over yet, Annalisa. No, this year is, having worked so hard. Be the light. The last 2 years, like I said, it was mental and emotional.
Yeah.
This year, it's physical healing. My body in pain And I think we all know, or maybe I shouldn't assume, but trauma stays in our body even after we've healed it emotionally and mentally. So now it's time for me to work on releasing the pain in my body.
Yes. Well, the body keeps the score.
You're right, it does. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Don't, not at all. So I really love, Wendy, you touched on that you were really, the mental and the emotional pieces were so important. And now this physical. So what does that look like for you?
Well, where I'm at right now is, I'm sitting in a place of feeling very humbled. I'm full of gratitude that my body has carried me through some really painful experiences. And I've come out the other side, and now it's time for me to, just fill my body with all the healing that I can, that I'm able to. And, I know this isn't exactly what you asked me, but when I received my certificate for life coaching last year, hanging on the wall behind me, what I did this year was I took my certificate and I hung it on the wall across from me so I can honor my healing journey, because it's so big for me. I'm so grateful to everybody that was in that classroom with me. They were, they held space for me. They were there at times when I didn't even know I needed someone to be there for me. When I them with their coaching, sometimes they ended up helping me. So yeah. And I know you asked me, where does this go from here with my physical? I'm actually really interested in a modality called orthobionomy.
Yes.
Never heard of this before. I have a really good friend in New Zealand, and she has been providing this service for 30 years. And what it is it's somebody will come in with chronic pain or something in an body, and she will work on that area, and it will release the trauma up there. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I've been sourcing out some practitioners because I'm so ready. I'm so ready to have the pain be released.
Yes. Yeah. I see it in you, Wendy. I see it in you. There's this, there's this energy, this energy that's moving outwards. It's no longer contained, And,
Yeah.
and I really, really, I think it's important for our friends listening to just hold on to one other point that you made about honoring your journey.
Yeah.
Because often we don't do that. We just keep going and fast forward, and the body stays in this kind of fight mode, go,
Yeah.
this heightened state. But what you did, those physical, I love those physical things that you do, Wendy, these tangibles, right? You moved your certificate.
I did.
The vision board, right? That you have there. I see it. You refer to it often. Your joy jar, these physical reminders of your healing journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's so vital.
Because those 2 years, I've never spent any amount of time like that working through something that's going on in my life. So for me to spend 2 years focusing on me and not me focusing on someone else all the time. So for me to pay to spend that amount of time. And oh God, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. It was painful at times. And all I kept saying was, I want to get through this. I want to get through this so I can move on to my dreams that are on my board right behind me, where I'm at. So yeah, I would love for anybody watching just to get a piece of cardboard, not cardboard, poster board, and start making a dream board, and put all those things that you want to accomplish and put it somewhere you're going to look at it every day. And you could sit. Nothing is more powerful. After I did this, nothing is more powerful than looking in one place and seeing everything you love. Whether it's your kid, of course, if your kids are around there, your husband, your wife, your animals, and all the dreams you've got that you want to do in this lifetime and achieve. That is so powerful. So powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And that reminder, I'm gonna say that again, Wendy, because that just came right. That was a direct message to all listening. Nothing is more powerful than looking in one place and seeing everything you love.
Yeah. It just, when I first looked at that, it was like my heart just swelled to see my dream house, my vacations, my horses, everything that I wanted on there, even the camera that I want to buy, and the bed. And another thing, I do want to add one more thing on there. And that is the picture of myself.
Yes.
Being, just being that direct source to source. That direct source. That's important to have ourselves on that dream board.
Yeah, Wendy. That direct, like you are that channel, right? That open channel.
Exactly. Yeah. Ready to receive.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ready to receive. And even though at times it may not have felt that way, right? During the journey, there was still something that kept you going.
Actually in college was when I learned about my core values. And I had no idea that determination was my number one core value. And when I looked at life, I was like, that's what got me through school. That's what got me through my parents' separation and my brother's death. And I was like, oh my gosh. I had moments where it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. It's painful. I don't want to be here. And those moments didn't last long, but I also had the thought, well, I don't want to come back and have to do all this over again either. So I'm going to stay here and I'm going to work through this.
Beautiful, Wendy. And I think back, to when you started, I didn't come this far to come this far. Is that the quote?
You're really close. I didn't come this far to only come this far.
Only come this far.
Yeah, I've been saying that even before I started at Rhodes. It's like, I didn't come this far to only come this far. I have so much more to do. Yeah. I still have my life of service for others.
Yes.
And I think I did mention to you that I'm going to be starting my own business, which is not life coaching, which might be a surprise to other people. And, maybe one day I'll come back and share that with you once I get it going.
Absolutely, Wendy. There will always be a seat here for you. Soul to soul, my sister. You know that. And I know, I'm so excited for you. We all are. Yeah. Those who have just joined us and are hearing your story for the first time, those of us who have had the joy, the honor to companion you through little segments, Wendy. We all see, hear, honor you, and your message, what you've left. As I'm just reflecting myself on these nuggets, these the wisdom that you've shared and these takeaways, you know, how I'm looking at things. The lessons, you know, what did my mom teach me? You know, these little things that if we stop during these moments of overwhelm and even just ask, what is this? What is life teaching me? What is this situation teaching me right now?
Mm-hmm.
As a way to help us to, right? Maybe reset.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, get our ego out of the way and start looking, you know, like, this is a lesson for me. This is something that's to teach me so I can go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wendy, I've taken notes here. I just want you to know. I got to add them. I got another journal here
Oh, goodness.
with multiple pages for you.
Aw.
Oh, Wendy, is there anything else you would like to share at this time? I know well, and we have talked for lengthier periods of time, but just mindful of your time, and our friends listening. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
The only thing I would really like to say is anyone who's going through a really tough time, feels stuck, you know, reach out to someone, find a support system. You know, if you can, get a counselor. I found actually that first year when we were in college, I ended up getting a counselor that summer. And for that very first session I had with her, she
Yeah.
was asking at the end of that session, you know, what did you get from this session? And I was like, do you know how good it felt to finally talk about this?
Yes.
Because I've carried it all my life. I felt that I had nowhere to go to talk about it. And to have that counselor sit there and hold space for me to talk about whatever it was that I needed to talk about that day.
Yes.
Precious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, if anyone's feeling stuck, you know, please find a support group or a friend or counselor if you're able to. Join roads.
Yes. And you know, Wendy, you had mentioned, I think that's such a beautiful way to wrap this. And a lot of times it's the ego that gets in this way, or I should be able to do this on my own. You know, but we are all companions on this journey, in this sacred school of life.
Exactly.
We are all companions. And, right? And we're here to learn and teach
Exactly.
and grow together. And what a beautiful world we're creating. What a legacy we're leaving for generations to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Through this example.
Sorry?
And through this example, you know, this is the legacy we want to leave generations to come. And you know, the quote by Parker J. Palmer, which has been with me for decades, and it talks of the human spirit, does not want to be fixed, saved. It wants to be seen, heard, held, companioned, witnessed exactly as it is.
Oh, so true. That's what I wanted to. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that is the gift you give others, Wendy. And that we, I think, even through this time, we're creating those sacred spaces for souls to shine. So let's all go out there and shine as we're meant to. But never forgetting that we are never alone.
oh gosh, that is so important. And I'm glad you said that we are never alone. Even though we may feel lonely, we are never alone. And I just want to say this because this just popped in my head. When I was going to counseling, I don't know if it was just before I left the abusive relationship or whether it was just after. And I walked into a group for that situation, that type of environment. And to walk into a group and see other women in there. And I said, oh my God, I'm not alone. When you're so deep in it, you think you're all alone and you don't know where to turn. You have no idea. And it was so, it was like a breath of fresh air. And I know this today, but it was a breath of fresh air to walk into a support group knowing that I had other women who were going through the same thing that I could talk to about it, as well as the counselors. Yeah. We are never alone, Annalisa. You said it. We aren't. No.
That breath of fresh air, that just putting down what we're carrying.
And that's what it was. When I walked in that room, I could still picture myself walking in, and it was like I just exhaled. It was like I've been holding my breath all my life, and I just exhaled. It was like, oh, thank goodness. I'm not alone. I'm not going through this all by myself. I'm not the only one. I mean, I don't wish this on anybody, but it was just, and I'm still friends with one of the women from the support group. You know, and we're both out of those situations and moved on. And yeah, but just, we're not alone. We're not.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. And the blessings that you found in these lived experiences, not easy, are ones that I know you will continue to bring out, share with the world. I know you will. And I thank you for trusting me, for trusting this whole method, means of communication, of putting yourself out there, Wendy, of taking the step out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't comfortable. And if anyone believes that it's going to be a comfortable journey, it's going to be bumpy and it's going to go in waves. And there were days where I had to go, you know what? I can't focus on the next hour. I can't focus on the next day. I need to focus on just this moment, just getting through the moment. And that some days were.
Yeah. Moment by moment.
That's exactly.
And remember, Wendy and I have some Italian quotes and things that we share. Tira avanti, sempre avanti was one that I would share with you, and you would ask, what is that? You know, it's the idea that just to keep moving forward, you know, it doesn't have to be big leaps, but
Piano.
Piano, sì, cara sorella. Slowly, piano piano ci va lontano. Slowly, you'll go far. Yes.
Don't they say you can go up a mountain just by taking the first step?
Absolutely.
One step. It doesn't matter how big that step is, just keep taking one step forward.
And let's keep holding the hand of light to others, because we just never know what someone else is going through.
We don't. We really don't. And I'm glad you said that, because, you know, through life, we see people that are happy. We see people that are very unhappy, and we just don't know what they've gone through. When I started this course with Rhodes, my daughter took the course 2 years before me, and she said to me, Mom, you are not going to look at another person the same way as you do now. When you finish, what do you mean? She goes, just keep that in mind as you go through your course. And now when I see somebody who's having a really hard time, or they're really angry, or they could be, you know, maybe they're living on the street, I stop and I think, what happened to you? What happened in your life? So I do think of people differently now. You know, I will say that when I was younger, it was easy to be judgmental. And, you know, I'm not there anymore. I don't know what someone's going through.
And holding even those thoughts of goodwill of love, what I've learned is even those thoughts can work miracles. Really.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, cara sorella,
Mm-hmm.
I thank you so much for joining us this evening.
And
I see this as the first of many,
yeah.
Wendy, you being out there and more of these soul-to-soul conversations. You have a mission. You
Mm-hmm.
really do, a sacred mission. And it's been a joy and an honor to witness it unfold and to have you companion and witness my unfolding as well. Who knew we'd be doing this?
Yeah, who knew? Right. Yeah.
Everything is possible. Everything is possible,
Yeah.
friends. Soul sisters, soul brothers.
Yeah.
We are one.
Yeah.
Familia.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, well, I wish you a wonderful remainder of your evening.
Thank you.
I'm going to have so much that is just filling my heart, and I know that you've left us all with these little gems, Wendy, that we can take out there. We have a thank you for this space to listen and hold space. It is truly our honor. We have some of our roadies
I,
on.
right. Thanks, Heather.
So proud of where you've all come from and are. And hey, you're welcome to join me on Let's Talk Soul to Soul.
Mm,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annalisa.
Piacere.
Rala,
Piacere.
joy to be here. I hope that, me sharing my journey has given someone some inspiration to step out of that comfort zone that they're in. It's not easy. Find a support system, counselor if you can. They're amazing how they listen, and they're just such a support, and they were there for me when I really, really needed it, and I'm so grateful. So
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Wendy, for that beautiful message in my joy jar. I've got a lot to add tonight.
So do I. As the joy, and I'm going to continue on this year living in joy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So proud of you. And all of you who joined, this whole thing here. Maybe one day in person. Who knows, right? Everything's possible.
Yeah.
All right. Ciao, my friends. Cara sorella, ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Good night.
Good night.